Okay, Roger, take it away with Dennis Moore.
Well, I'm his coach, so you better interview to make it dispassionate and objective.
Well, I'll tell you what, I'll start the interview by saying, Dennis, how are you? How did you do?
I did very well, thank you, and I feel great. It's the most amazing race I've ever been involved in.
Tell us why it's amazing.
The crowds, the bands, the distance, the hills. It was spectacular. I've been only involved in small races in the past, like running on trails and in small towns, and to have the entire town turn out like this and applaud us and wearing the white shirts and the bands, it was simply amazing. It was the most amazing racing experience I've ever had.
Well, we were just talking about that, Dennis. That was amazing. We were just talking about the white shirts and the involvement of the community, and you've just come in absolutely on cue. That's really perfect. Just to remind you, anyway, you need to have been listening at the front of the broadcast. Dennis is our friend from New Paltz, New York, who took up running because of his dog. His dog, his dog Radar, who I'm determined to make the world's most famous dog, got him into running and has been his coach for the last 3 years. And Dennis has now improved and is now well on progress to get his Boston qualifier. Dennis started running at the age of 65, now 68, run his first 15K. Any idea of your time?
1:26.
Whoa.
That's pretty good. Your number 2 coach is going to be very pleased with that. I don't know what number 1 coach will think.
I was happy with it. I was shooting for 1:24. I was going to be happy with anything under 1:33. 1:26 I'm pleased with.
That was your actual, on your own watch, wire to wire.
Yes, it took 6 minutes to simply shuffle to the start line.
How were those first miles when you're in the crowd?
They were slow. And one had to pick one's way carefully among people who were actually walking. Mm-hmm. But it opened up, I think, maybe 2 mile mark, and there was plenty of room to run there. And you could also run along on the sidewalks or even in the grass areas in some places.
Yes, I had advised Dennis of what it would be like in those first miles. That it could be very frustrating to an affirmative personality like his, and so just to stay calm, stay patient. And then just work his way through when things opened up, and that worked out okay.
That worked out. The advice was perfect. It worked out very well. Yes.
Okay, you're not much of a hill runner because I know you run on the flat a lot in New Paltz. But how did those hills hit you today?
They weren't bad. I seem to be able to accelerate a little bit on hills, and so passed a lot of people on some of the hills.
Burstone Hill out in the hot sun. What was that like for you? That at the 10-kilometer mark?
That was tough. I was pouring water on my head and chewing on ice, but I made it.
And then did you open up on the last 2 miles as hoped?
I did. Fortunately, they were downhill slope, as you know, most of it, and I gave it everything I had. So I picked up my pace. That's how I managed, I think, to get to 8:26 because my early splits were very, very much negative.
So we're talking to Dennis just as, in a way, a typical runner, somebody who didn't think of becoming a runner till he was 65 years old, has not won any age group awards except in very small races, but is on the way to doing that. And he's another example of the story of if you just keep doing the work, you'll keep on improving. And Dennis is looking forward. Next race, Dennis, tell us the next major race that's coming up.
My next major race is a half marathon in Reykjavik, Iceland. And wow. I am so psyched for that.
And wow. Your longer term objective?
I hope to qualify for the Boston Marathon.